Welcome to Alternate Ending, where we're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I am your host for the evening, Tim Brayton. I have a very exciting panel of three friends with me today. I'm just going to do this alphabetically by first name. We have with us first Caleb from LA. How are you doing, Caleb?
Good. Thanks for having me back.
Excellent. And we have from a little bit further north in California, from San Francisco, we have Cameron. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Just got home from work.
Excellent.
So
hope you are
transitioning.
Hope you are fully recovered from the last time you and I chatted on this podcast, which was just a week ago, where we watched Zombies 4. Check that out if you want. You get to hear me feeling sad that Brennan loved that movie in excess of what I found it could be loved. And then other side of the country, last but not least, we have Zev. How you doing this week, Zev?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back, Tim.
Excellent. Always a pleasure. So our topic for the night, it is the fourth Tuesday of, I say the night because we're recording at night. It could be any time of day when you're listening to this. Our topic for the week is the films coming out in August of 2025. It is the fourth Tuesday of July. That's what we always do on fourth Tuesdays. And it is going to be a very big conversation. There's a lot of movies. I don't know that any of them are super crazy buzzy movies, but there's going to be quite a bit to get through. So we're going to have a pretty full episode for you, but we do want to spend a few minutes at least in our worth mentioning segment, our movie roundtable, where we talk about movies we've seen recently. And I did poll the team ahead of time, so I know what we've got. We're going to go chronologically this time. So we're going to start in the distant past of the 1980s. So Caleb, tell us what you got there.
Yeah, the distant past of my birth year in 1989 with Hard to Be a God by Peter Fleischmann. It's a West German, Soviet, French, Swiss co-production, which is about the most 1989 thing I think you could say about a movie's background. It's adapted from the 1964 novel of the same name by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky, two brothers who are probably the biggest name in Russian science fiction ever. Best known in the West for Roadside Picnic, adapted as Stalker, and they were, for a long time kind of unknown over here until figures like Ursula K. Le Guin sort of went to bat for getting localizations of their work. But they were really just about the biggest thing in the Soviet Union. And this book in particular was, depending on which account you read, either their bestseller or second bestseller. The book and the movie tell the story of a future in which a utopian Soviet Union sends anthropologists to a distant planet to study a society of humans who they've basically mirrored development with Earth genetically and culturally, and are now in their equivalent of sort of a kind of a cartoonishly exaggerated Middle Ages of squalor and just a really stagnant human existence. Anton is our main character, played by Edward Zentara. He's one of these anthropologists, and he's embedded among the locals in disguise as the nobleman Don Ramada. And instead of proving Earth's great theories about inevitable progress, he kind of winds up becoming more and more enmeshed in local politics as this medieval society takes a turn towards proto-fascism and rounds up and kills anybody literate or otherwise of no use to the state. So immediately that's going to sound very maybe Star Trek-y, kind of First Contact, notable maybe since the book came out just a couple years before Star Trek was on the air in the U.S. and that was kind of in the water. There's a sort of very loosey-goosey prime directive going on in the ways they're not supposed to interfere, but wind up interfering in massive ways. Let's see. This is I really, really enjoyed this movie. I wasn't really sure what to expect of this one. I wanted to watch it before seeing the 2013 Russian adaptation. I did learn that the Strugatsky brothers kind of disavowed this production because of changes to the ending into the script that are perhaps against the spirit of the original work in some ways, even while mostly, for the most part, I'd say it's a pretty faithful adaptation up until that point. Filmed in Azerbaijan and Georgia, it's extremely cheap, but manages to do a hell of a lot with really tiny budget, like really great sword and sorcery set and costume design, and there's some really cool makeup work. There's a lot that's done to really sell you the existence in this version of a world that is simultaneously really familiar and really alien, and the biggest change in this adaptation is placing a lot of emphasis on the scientists and the people from Earth who are watching through hidden sort of head cameras and little amulets, all the things that are happening here. Let's see some other and the cheapness of the budget. There's a few scenes towards the end in the climax where they try to go for the big 80s movie climax, including a climactic helicopter crash and explosion, which is unfortunately it must be a rental helicopter because instead of actually crashing it into the cliffs as it's going to, it's like the helicopter disappears and a cartoon explosion is placed over top of it. But other than that, and one or two moments involving a phaser, it's actually really really well done in terms of what they're doing with the budget. Exciting, fight scenes. The book for the Strugatskys kind of started as them trying to do a very high adventure Dumas type story, Three Musketeer style, and it got darker and darker as the contemporary politics of their time got darker, and the Great Thaw sort of started refreezing in Soviet literary freedoms at that point, and so the book sort of became, and the movie, a story of repression and of all these fun things. There's the villain is very much a Beria character whose name had to be changed slightly in the novel to avoid any possible censorship. Some fun little bits and pieces. One thing Tim had mentioned in his review of the 2013 film way back when was that Werner Herzog makes an appearance in this movie and really does steal the show in the bit he's in. It's pretty delightful. Baron Pampa is this boisterous side character who sort of like storms into the plot halfway through the movie and really steals the show. He's played by Elguha Berduli, but he would be played by Brian Blessed if this were an English language production. He's that sort of like huge over the top, loud, chivalrous kind of foil to our lead character Anton's constant distress about what's happening to this world and to the things that he's come to love in it, as he sort of finds himself not enlightening this society, but kind of getting down in the muck of it and becoming more and more of this world. This movie is like the easiest, fun little watch for how dark the subject matter is. I think if it had been filmed in English, it would be a beloved cult classic in the U.S. at this point. But probably worth checking out for anybody who loves sci-fi, science fantasy, sword and sorcery movies. It's definitely of that sort of Conan and Mad Max kind of vintage, and that comes through in the lead character's black leather and dual sword costume design, and with the silver wig, he basically looks like The Witcher years before the Witcher TV series, either one of those or the video game. So it seemed to be in the water at that point.
Interesting. So you have not, at this moment in time, seen the 2013 film that you're planning on?
I have not yet. Maybe this weekend, but from what I've heard, and yeah.
As I say, does not sound like you're going to be in for the same experience. if you are describing this in any capacity as fun or Mad Maxy. It's like, do you enjoy watching people standing in pools of liquid shit? Because that is, as far as I recall, 90% of the content of the 2013 movie.
There's very little of the pools of liquid shit in this one. There is the blood and mud and, burnings at the stake and things like that. But it is a clip film, and it is not rubbing your face.
Yeah, interesting. So it definitely sounds like a completely different experience than the one I'm familiar with. And, you've reminded me that I said in my 2013, or my review of the 2013 film, that I was going to rush right out and find the old one, and I most certainly did not. But I'm curious, and you've certainly piqued my curiosity by describing it in genre terms that I do not remotely recall being true of the later film, which I remember it being like possible to forget that it was sci-fi because it just was like two time travelers and a very filthy version of the Middle Ages.
Oh, you can't forget in this version. We're cutting to them watching from outer space in their big orbiting viewing center.
Interesting. I'm definitely going to have to check this out. You've reawakened my interest. And Zev, Cameron, have either of you seen either version of this?
No.
I have not.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I will say the 2013 version is one I'd have a hard time selling. I already said that they're pools of shit. So
this one sounds it sounds intriguing. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna watch it immediately, but it sounds fun. If nothing else.
Yeah, and I can definitely recommend the novel either way. That's also a pretty short read. I think everything I've read by the Strugatskys kind of is in the 50 to 70,000 word range for the most part. But I think the novel lives somewhere in between this and what I've heard described of the 2013 one tonally. You can see both of those things in.
Excellent. Well, thank you for putting that back on my radar, I guess I should say, because it was there and fell off. What do you have for us this evening, Zev? What did you catch up with recently?
So, in a break from tradition, going where I usually just pull from a classic movie, I have not had a lot of time to watch a lot of movies recently, but I did just have a 6-hour flight from Heathrow back to New York very recently, so I was able to catch up with.
So Satan Tango.
I
Obviously.
wish when it's a 12-hour flight, then we'll talk. But no, I want to see Satan Tango in a theater. I would not do that to you, or me. But I did catch up with a 2025 psychological horror called The Woman in the Yard, the latest film from Jaume Collet Serra, who I think is probably best known for directing the 2009 film Orphan. And this was written by Sam Stefanik in his feature film screenwriting debut, which in retrospect makes a whole lot of sense because he is a TV screenwriter. It stars Daniel Deadwyler and Russell Hornsby. The premise is a recent widow who is raising 2 children in just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. One day, a very mysterious woman appears sitting in a chair on their yard just outside their farm and more or less kind of torments them a little bit. Which, I mean, and this has a lot of the basic elements that I think one would want for a really compelling psychological horror. But there was something that I noted when I saw the movie Night Bitch last year with Amy Adams. I said I thought this was going to be something like the American Babadook, which I was very wrong about that when I saw Night Bitch. But this makes a very good argument to trying to be the American Babadook, and trying to be the American Babadook, well, it turns out as well as you would probably think.
Okay.
Basically, I mean, it's a short movie, and God bless. I mean, I love short movies, but it kind of just there's nothing really wrong with it, but it kind of just feels a little incomplete. It really does feel like a TV screenwriter trying to go feature length. A lot of the emotional arcs kind of feel very forced. Very little feels very fleshed out. There are a couple of really terrific jump scares, but there really isn't. I had a hard time. I really have a hard time finding much to recommend it in it, because to me it again, it's not bad, but I don't feel that there's a lot to it.
Sure.
There's not a lot to it psychologically. It all feels a little forced, and I was a little.
Okay.
I don't know that I was disappointed, because I guess I saw it on a plane, and but again, this was a situation where I simply just wanted more. This is very much still in the outline stage rather than this gets the green light to me.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was interested in this when I saw the trailer last year, and then I knew a couple people who saw it and sort of made a very particular point of deflating my interest. I feel like they did themselves no favors by strongly implying in the ad campaign that the woman in the yard was a ghost, which I gather is just not even a little bit true.
Oh,
I got that implication of the trailers. I don't know.
yeah.
It's I don't want to spoil anything, but but I don't think whether she's a ghost or not. For me, it didn't really make as much of an emotional landing either way. So
Okay.
But I mean, if you end up getting a screener for it, I would say that would be the ideal time. I mean, I probably might get a screener for it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I it's not very high on my catch up list, but I'm curious because I am more curious in genre-y stuff in general, but it does sound like don't get one's hopes up. You're not the first person to tell me not to get my hopes up. So.
I hope no one else tries to compare it to Babadook, though.
Sure,
that
is not a comparison that movies can survive.
Okay.
Have either of you seen this?
No, it is not the kind of movie I go see.
But you're a horror movie expert now.
No, I'm really not. It doesn't matter if it's a terrible movie or not. If it's scary in the slightest psychological way, I will not sleep that night. So, in the interest of sleep.
I wouldn't say it's particularly scary.
You'd be surprised. I'm a major wimp. So, yeah.
I do love horror movies, but I got the impression from the trailer I saw that this was, or I saw a couple different trailers, I guess, that it was going to be one of those that is riding or dying on its jump scares almost entirely, and that's usually not my flavor of horror. I love the Babadook, though. I guess that has a couple really good background jumps in there, but it's not really what makes that movie sing.
No one says that great Babadook, that great jump scare movie, The Babadook, for sure.
Now I just want to go rewatch Babadook. God damn it.
Okay. Well, that was March, so that was 5 months ago. But I believe, Cameron, you have something hot off the presses for us.
Hot off the presses. Well, it's been a couple weeks now. So last night, I too have not seen a lot of movies recently. So last night I was like, I gotta watch something, so I have something to talk about. And I went to Amazon Prime. I fully intended to watch the documentary on Led Zeppelin that came out earlier this year. And I got thwarted by a trailer for this movie called Heads of State, which came out on July 2nd, and is an action comedy starring John Cena and Idris Elba and Priyanka Chopra Jonas, who I did not know was married to a Jonas brother. It's about the Prime Minister of the UK and the President of the United States somebody attempts to assassinate them by making their plane go down, because for some reason they're on the same plane, which I don't think would ever really happen. And the shenanigans that follow with them getting to like a safe house in Poland, and basically somebody's trying to take over the world with a virus and shutting down all the systems. Actually, it's not a virus. It doesn't matter. It's one of these movies where the semantics don't matter. It's really stupid. It's really fun. And it was the kind of thing that, I sat on my couch for 2 hours and it felt like I was watching like maybe a 45-minute chunk of a movie. It went really quickly. It's very big, loud, dumb summer fun. I was bummed that it didn't come out in theaters, because I felt this way about that movie with The Rock that came out on Amazon Prime a couple years ago with Gal Gadot.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm forgetting the name of. Red something. And where like Amazon clearly, or whoever produced this, clearly poured all this money into this movie, and you watch it on your 4-foot TV. It just seems like a waste of money, and yet it's really fun. And if you kind of miss summer blockbusters after having seen Mission Impossible, one of the writers is a Mission Impossible producer. It was directed by the guy who did Hardcore Henry,
okay.
Which I don't know if that really recommends him, but he also did this movie called Nobody, which now has a sequel coming out.
That does recommend him, actually. I think Nobody was a very credible action film.
Yeah, so his name is Ilya Naishuller. And, I mean, there is a moment in this movie where Idris Elba sees a rocket coming and drives faster than the rocket. Like, it's that kind of movie where you're just... It's not... it's ridiculous. So, I had a lot of fun, and I will not spoil any of the plot twists and who ends up being behind things, because there are a couple of red herrings that turn out to go nowhere. I mean, that's what a red herring is. And then you don't really see what's coming when you find out who's behind it. So it was fun, and it's funny. Those guys can both deliver a laugh line pretty well, and Idris Elba I'm here for no matter what. And yeah.
Yeah, like Elba obviously is an international treasure, and we need to cherish him as long as he even is making streaming movies. I think John Cena's got just a good comic sensibility. Yeah. I've never been sad he's in something, even if the thing he's in is garbage, which happens routinely.
And the premise of his presidency is that he's like an action hero who was elected to the presidency. Okay. So there's kind of constant jokes about how he doesn't really know how to use a machine gun or whatever, piece of equipment he's being asked to use. Right. But he looks good doing it. And like, it's a commentary on Americans and how we elect people in one way. But it's also, there's some good laugh lines, and he's kind of always game for a silly movie, and I like that about him too. So
have you seen or are a fan, Cameron, of the other Presidents in Peril movies from a few years back, like White House Down?
White House Down is yes, White House Down. Yes. I actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure I can distinguish the two of those.
Well, they came out so close to each other, too.
They really did.
I think the distinction is that White House Down has a sense of humor and Olympus Has Fallen does not, is my feeling about the two.
I think that sounds like it's correct from what I remember of the two of them.
Gerard Butler movies do not have a sense of humor, by and large, is my feeling.
This is much more of a White House Down, it sounds like.
Yeah, okay, so that was the more fun one. White House, yes, it was a romp.
If I recall correctly, I think, Tim, on your reviews of White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen, you literally titled the other movie.
I did. It's one of my favorites. It was one of my longer,
clever,
like percolating bits, because I knew the moment that they were both announced I was good. But
yeah, your chickens have come home to roost.
Yes.
I will say that Jack Quaid is in this, and who's really having quite a year. So obviously I knew he was a Quaid. I didn't somehow know that he was also Meg Ryan's kid. Mm-hmm. So I Googled him mid-movie and found that out. And now I can't unsee how much he looks like Meg Ryan. So there you have that.
Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I tend to just gloss over whatever premiered on streaming. Like it's not an ecosystem that I'm even aware of, really. So I'm glad to have people pull them out and bring them to my attention.
Yeah, I was happy to have stumbled upon it. I'm sure it probably got a big build-up on Amazon, and I just do not spend enough time on Amazon to know about that. Yeah.
Well, I will be... I said chronological order. I'm going to rewind a little bit, because I will be ending our movie roundtable with a Patreon request. This is a fairly recent film, though. This comes at the request of Maxwell Jacobson, who gave me a pick of a couple movies that he'd seen in the last couple of years that I hadn't touched, that he just wanted to know what I thought about. So I picked the 2022, let's see if I can get these all correct, Franco-German, Belgian, Cambodian, South Korean, Qatari, I think, motion picture Return to Seoul. But it's the story of a woman named Frédérique, or Freddie, who was born in Korea to Korean parents and was then adopted by a French couple. And she's just turned 25, and sort of on a lark, she decided to go to Korea for the first time in her whole life to visit some friends who were there. And landing in Korea has sort of discombobulated her and caused her to have questions that she'd never really articulated before about where is she from. So kind of as the movie starts, she has just made this decision that since she's in South Korea, she might as well see if she can find her birth parents and see what's going on with that. And the movie initially is about how she goes through this process, how she finds that it's not a very satisfying process to have gone through, and maybe it ended up making her feel even less fixed and sure of who she is as a person than she was at the start, and it was pretty clear she wasn't all that sure of who she was as a person in the first place. And I say that's how it starts because the film does something deliberate. It's not a mistake. Like, there's no possibility that the movie has like gone awry by accident. It basically it basically is an anthology film about one character who does 3 completely different things over a period of 7 years. And so after about an hour-ish of this story where she's just trying to, like, contemplate who she is, where she came from, I don't want to say exactly what happens, but it skips forward 2 years and becomes a remarkably different film. And then a bit later, it skips forward another 5 years and becomes, I'd say, a remarkably different film again. And it doesn't act like it's become a remarkably different film. It just sort of, all of a sudden, everything about the scenario is irreconcilably different, which is interesting. And it reminds us that this is, whatever else it seems to be doing, a French art film. That is its kind of bona fides when we dig down. And I don't dislike that, but I am also still trying to mentally unpack why. Again, it's, I think, a more challenging movie than it looks like it's going to be when you hear that it's about a woman going back to her birth country to find her adopted parents. I certainly made certain expectations about what kind of story it was going to tell, and it starts telling that story. It changes, and it gets back to something like that story at the end, but in a very refracted way. So it's a very interesting movie, very challenging movie, not necessarily a movie that I think I liked very much, because it does sort of go through these changes that are big. Like they're too big to just kind of ride with them. I think you have to kind of, the movie is a vibes movie, and then the vibe changes so hard twice that I don't know how one is to keep vibing with it. And people did. I mean, people responded to this movie very strongly when it came out. It premiered at the 2022 Cannes Film Festival and then hit the United States in 2023, and it was a pretty big critical hit at the time. I will also say the main character, Freddie, is played by a first-time actress named Park Ji-min. She is, like the character, a South Korean-born French woman. So clearly drawing from personal experience, but the performance is really very remarkable in that I don't know if anyone here, have any of you seen Morven Color, the 2002 film with Samantha Morton?
Yeah, I mean, in 2002.
Sure.
Yes.
So she's doing the same thing that Samantha Morton did in that movie, I think, where the kind of thesis of the movie in a way is that we don't get to learn who this person is. Like we watch her surfaces, and her surface is kind of deliberately underplayed, but it's not like the actress isn't giving us anything. It's more that the actress is not leading us someplace. And I find it fascinating. I think it's a very, very well done version of that, which is obviously not for everybody, but like I said, this is French art cinema. So we kind of spend this whole movie knowing that Freddie is someone who doesn't, whatever she feels, she doesn't feel like she has roots. Like that's kind of clearly the scenario requires that. But we don't really ever know how she feels about that. We just kind of have to figure it out by watching her, and we do or don't figure that out, I will say.
Like she's deliberately giving a performance to let you read a lot of different things into her.
To read a lot of things and nothing, in a way. I think like part of the fun of it is you start trying to unpack like even the tiniest gestures. Is she telling us something, or is it just like the character's nose itches or whatnot? Things like that. So definitely a complicated performance. I liked it. I think it was technically very polished. It's a hard performance to feel like I don't want to say good about, but it's not an emotionally resonant performance. Like that's the point of the thing. So like it's tough. Again, it's French art cinema. I'm using this phrase as a crutch, but it is French art cinema. So I liked that part. I liked the kind of challenge of it. I like the challenge of trying to just deal with this character who remains just so opaque, almost like perversely so. The movie as a drama, I don't know if I got there for me. It felt like it was too obvious until it became too not obvious, which I know it's not a fair thing to say about the movie, but like that first hour, it was like, yes, I've seen this. It's basically a Frenchier past lives for a certain portion of that first hour. And then all of a sudden it just swerves, and I had no tether at that point. So definitely an experience, and not one that I'm sorry to have had at all. I will say, I think Davy Chu has a very precise idea of what to do with visuals. It felt a little manicured to me. A lot of images that are like split down the middle, and the composition, like the elements on one side of the frame sort of contrast with the elements on the other side of the frame in a way that was cool, but felt very, I went to film school and I was paying very close attention. I found it a little exhaustingly precise a lot of ways. And I know, Cameron, you elected not to talk about the films of a certain Wes Anderson tonight, but I know your feelings about exhaustingly precise compositions. And it also did a thing that I'm just totally burned out on, which is close-ups in shallow focus. Which feels like where art cinema is and has been for a few years at this point, and I'm just so burned out on close-ups and shallow focus. So aesthetically, I think Davy Chu has instincts and an eye, but I also think he is playing according to a very safe rule book for an art indie filmmaker, especially one coming out of Europe. So, this is his second feature, if I'm not mistaken. I think the first one made a little splash, not very big. It's I don't remember the name of it, but I will certainly be curious to see more films from this director, but not like eager, perhaps would be the way I'd put it. And then one last thought, and then I'll be done talking about this. It did have a motif that I thought was incredible. It was actually by far my favorite thing in the movie. It's full of scenes of people. So Freddie doesn't speak a lick of Korean at the start of the movie. She's just gone to Korea on a whim, but everyone around her sort of just assumes she'll be speaking Korean because you look at her and she's like, aha, she's Korean. And one character even says, you look like almost more Korean. You look like a sort of ancient primordial version of a Korean. And so she doesn't speak any Korean, and she kind of speaks okay enough English. She mostly speaks French. So you have a bunch of characters translating Korean to French and French to Korean, or French to English to Korean, and Korean to English to French. And so you have a lot of scenes of people translating for each other and intentionally introducing not mistranslations, but their interpretations of what the person meant to say, which I thought was just an incredible, incredible motif in terms of just like people facilitating communication by willfully miscommunicating in a way, and just how much harder that makes it to be alive in a cosmopolitan world where people are speaking all kinds of languages in all sorts of international settings. Those scenes consistently worked for me. I think they were definitely the best part of the film, which I know is a very precious thing to have be my favorite part of the film. But I think it was interesting. It's going to give me a lot to grapple with. Didn't love the experience, I'm not going to lie. So that was my take on Return to Seoul. So thank you, Max, for putting that movie in my path. Have any of you seen this? I looked on Letterboxd and I didn't see any of you had rated it, so I assume
not yet. Though if it's too artsy and removed for you from emotionally, I'm more hesitant than I was before.
I won't say it's too artsy. I think it is not thoughtful enough about how it's being artsy. It's kind of being artsy because, again, Davy Chu clearly is a film student or went to film school. He's not a film student, he's an adult, but
yeah, I feel like you can kind of tell when there's a director who's had too much, and I say this as someone who has had too much film school. When there's a director who's had too much film school, it's almost like they are trying to break rules as dictated by other rules. Mm-hmm. Is that like they're being artsy in a certain way and they don't let themselves stray from that at all. And you see it more in short films, because I think a lot of directors make short films and then they don't move beyond that for this very reason, which is that they can't really hit on something that is new and fresh and of their own creation. So as much as film school is helpful in many ways, I think it also can really hold people back.
Yeah. I've seen it referred to as the one perfect shotification of directing, where people just get so aware of a certain kind of prestigious, value-laden way of making images that at one point in time was fresh and revolutionary, but now it's just kind of like the house style of international art films.
Yeah. So, I had a professor who used to pause our movies every time we shot a scene that used too much red, and he would just pause and say, "Oh, this is the red scene. Everybody watch," and then unpause. Like, this, it's just rote at this point. So
no, for real. So
I feel like I don't need to see this movie.
I wouldn't recommend against it, but it would be tough for me to say everyone needs to go out and see it. It's not bad. I think it's a little too perfect in a way that isn't like fun to me.
Yeah.
But, that being said, again, thank you, Max. Thank you for nudging me in the direction of this movie that was quite well regarded when it came out a couple years ago. So I did feel slightly guilty about not seeing it. And I will also say, as I said, Max got to pick that movie for me because of his Patreon support of the show and the site. And that brings me to the pitch. If you also want to not direct what I do, because we are currently full up on those Patreon requests, but if you do want to support the site, you do want to support the podcast, you can certainly do that through Patreon. Links right there on the sidebar. We do have a couple new Patreon supporters since the last episode that I want to give a quick shout out. These are both upgrades, so thank you both for moving into our new tiers from the old tiers back in the day. That's Jason Dolha and Richard Page, both of whom are currently supporting the show as crewhead members, which gives them access to classic movie reviews a week early, as well as voting in alternate ending polls and attending our trivia nights, which we are probably going to be due to have one in the fairly near future. We'll be discussing that, Brendan and I, and maybe sharing some details in the future. So again, if you want to be part of that, it's a great community. Go ahead and support the show through Patreon. So with that, let's dive into the main bulk of the show, and quite a bulk it's going to be. As I said, there are 16 wide releases, I think, coming out in August 2025, as well as a whole bunch of limited releases. We're going to talk about as many of them as we can. We'll see how far we get. But let's start by talking about the films coming out, and these, of course, as always, are U.S. release dates on August 1st. So the very first day of the month, we have 2 new wide releases, and they are both versions of crime comedies, but they are for 2 very different audiences. And the first of these, both alphabetically and in terms of sort of my incipient interest in them, is a new DreamWorks film, which is the animated talking animal caper film, The Bad Guys 2. I guess my first question would be, did any of you see The Bad Guys 1?
Yes.
No.
And actually, this film coming out is giving me repeatedly this feeling that I'm in my own Mandela effect, where I could have sworn I already saw Bad Guys 2 as well, but...
To be fair, seeing The Bad Guys 1 strongly implies the experience of seeing The Bad Guys 2.
It sure looks like it from the trailers, yeah. Just transposing to some new settings, the same exact beats, I guess.
I'm not anticipating it to be outstanding, but I am anticipating to have a blast with it, nonetheless.
Yeah, my feeling was that the first movie was a cool style in search of a script that I cared about at all. And that's mean, but I'm hopeful it's in a good position for a sequel to be, which is that the bones are good, and the bones in this case, because it's an animated film, is the style, I think. The bones are there, and all they need to do is just give it a better story this time, and that seems entirely doable. So I feel it's in the position to be an improvement, which certainly historically I think DreamWorks sequels tend to improve on the original, I think. So
that's interesting. I think now that I think about it, you're totally correct.
Yeah, because I'm no Shrek 2 fan, but it's better than Shrek. I think both Kung Fu Panda and Dragon just kind of, even from very high heights, both swept up.
Madagascar 2.
Yeah.
Madagascar
was better.
Every subsequent Madagascar film is better. I think.
Puss in Boots: Last Wish.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's got to be.
So there you go. So Bad Guys 2, best film of the summer.
Exception that proves the rule being Prince of Egypt, but that was a direct-to-video follow-up, so we can exclude
that's
it.
Yeah.
But don't forget Prince for Egypt.
I can't. It's impossible now, thanks to alternate ending.
So that's the one movie. I don't know, kids comedy. We need those in the world. The other film, and this is one I cannot decide, what my emotional response is to the existence of this movie.
Yeah.
We're getting a reboot, not a remake, but a reboot of The Naked Gun. What do we think?
There's one really good gag in the trailers so far, I think. Exactly one that I laughed aloud at and made me feel like maybe there's some of the insane, and that's the one related to the portraits along the wall of the various fathers of all these characters. Yeah. Until we get to the one who is O.J. Simpson's son, and as all the other fathers all the other sons are like kneeling and weeping before their father's portrait. It's so over the top and such a good way of handling the how do we address this particular bit of our of our prior movies legacy. But otherwise, I don't know, where were you all feeling on what we've seen of it so far? If these are the best jokes of the film.
I'm really interested. I feel like the 90s were a time when these like screwball is not even the right word, farce comedies
these
were
like
a big thing.
Broad parody farces.
Yeah, like 80s and 90s, like you had Hot Shots and Robin Hood, Men in Tights and all of that. Like, and I don't know if there's still a taste for it. That's what baffles me about the whole thing. I will probably see it. I don't know that I'll see it in theaters, but it looks fun.
I think the genre kind of got killed in the late 90s, early 2000s by all the scary movies and epic movies and date movies or whatever. But
exactly,
when I saw the trailer, I had two suspicions. I'm thinking to myself, okay, who is this for? Because I think even this is for the Naked Gun audience, but I don't know that audience exists anymore.
Really?
And number two, I don't know if I buy Liam Neeson in the role.
Yeah.
He's not, for me, he's not selling it yet. He didn't make me laugh as hard in the trailer as probably maybe executives did, but as to who would be a better fit, I don't know. I don't know that we have anybody who is up to that challenge.
I mean, I will say trailers for comedies are what they are. Like, I'm not going to assume the film will be as unfunny as the trailers are, although the trailers are not funny. I think that is a fair thing to say. I did like the O.J. Simpson gag, and it stood out, let us say.
Actually, I want to retract one bit that I said there. I feel like a long time ago, or maybe even still, George Clooney might have been. Somebody once said if George Clooney did more comedy, he'd be our Cary Grant. But
interesting.
But
as I do think I trust Liam Neeson, and not because of anything in the trailer, but specifically, and this is a very precise deep cut. There is a sitcom, a British sitcom from the 2010s, or maybe it was even from the late 2000s, called Life is Short. And it's Warwick Davis as himself, as this actor trying to get roles that aren't like, Warwick Davis, you're short, let's put you in short guy roles. And so there's a bit where Liam Neeson and he have the same agent, and Liam Neeson comes in and does like this unbelievably dark-hearted improv comedy sketch to prove he can do improv. And it's very much the gag is Liam Neeson having fun with his sort of post-Taken personas, like ultra badass hard dude who shoots things. And it proves to me that Liam Neeson is capable of being all the way in on the joke without giving the slightest indication he's about to start laughing, which I think is super crucial for this movie. The other thing that gives me a little hope, and maybe this is stupid, it is directed by Akiva Schaffer, who is of the Lonely Island.
Yeah.
And Akiva Schaffer has made, as far as I'm aware, 2 features. And the more recent one is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which was, I think, very dire. But the one prior to that was Popstar, which I really, really, really loved. And I feel like Popstar is going to require, Naked Guns are going to require more of that skill set. So I kind of want to trust it based on him.
And
go ahead. Well, as far as who this movie is for, I feel like it's people, I don't know exactly how old all of you are, but like millennials and like maybe slightly the generation below us. Like, we're the people who laughed at that O.J. Simpson joke. Because people older than us are not going to be in the theater to see that trailer. And people younger than us may not get that joke or have seen, like, even know that O.J. Simpson was in the Naked Gun movies. So I feel like this is sort of following along on this nostalgia train that has been going for the last 4 or 5 years to capitalize on the money, whatever money millennials might have, which for many of us is none, but you know.
And honestly, I did not see Naked Gun, the original, until 2020. I think I had seen like bits and pieces of some of the later sequels, but watching it in 2020, it was like a group watch on Zoom during COVID lockdowns. I think it's probably then and now like the funniest movie of the 80s for me, as somebody who didn't grow up with it, didn't see anything back there. So it's, maybe there's enough people who have that feeling about the original or come back to it in recent years, but it doesn't really have that ongoing legacy hook, I think, anymore, of when they were already churning out sequels for so long. Although I guess it would be funny if Liam Neeson did the same turn with his career that Leslie Nielsen did, because he was not a comedy actor prior to Airplane, right? Am I remembering this correctly? That he was always
that is correct.
Okay, serious until
right, yeah.
until then, and then he just became that sort of comic parody, living straight man through saying the most and doing the most cartoonish things kind of foil.
Yeah, I'd be down. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm curious, but not letting myself be hopeful, I guess I'd say.
Yeah.
And, in terms of the Who Is This For, I do wonder if they have numbers supporting the idea that the Naked Gun movies have been, like, larger streaming hits than we suspect. I also kind of feel, I mean, you look at who made this. We talked about Akiva Schaffer, but also his co-writers, Dan Greger and Doug Mand, who also wrote, unfortunately, Chip and Dale. That's a movie that was made because the people who made it were kids in 1991. And I feel like it's maybe these people are making it for themselves and they just managed to trick a studio into giving them money to do so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would love to be proven wrong on everything I said before, but I just hope that it doesn't. I just hope that they don't Ghostbusters it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
We always hope that about every movie, I think. Speaking of nostalgia plays, for which I'm not 100% sure there's a target audience, shall we move ahead to August 8th and the release of the not precisely timely 22-year later sequel, Freakier Friday, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan of the, I've now learned, 4th version of Freaky Friday from 2003, who get body swapped again.
Doesn't stop being funny, Tim.
It
It's
sure
always
does.
funny.
And the original movie had 7 sequels, right?
Did it?
I don't know. I know it had a bunch of remakes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so wait. This is the 7th sequel. Okay, I got the information wrong.
That could very well
Okay,
be the case. I'm not sure.
it.
There have been more than I thought. I thought there were 2, and it turns out there's a bunch. So
I don't think I realized there were that many.
Freaky
either.
Friday 76, Summer Switch 84, A Billion for Boris 84, Freaky Friday 95, Freaky Friday 2003,
Oh, wow.
Freaky Friday 2018, and Freakier Friday 2025.
it is one of my plans is to binge every movie whose title is exactly Freaky Friday on Letterboxd. So follow along. I will say this: Jamie Lee Curtis is very important, and if she wants to do this, we should let her, and we should be glad she's doing it.
Yeah.
That's about the nicest thing I will say about this premise.
So, yeah, that was my main takeaway too. Is first of all, I do know the audience. I have multiple friends who are the audience for this. And yes, they are in their early 40s.
That's the thing. Early 40s is not the audience for anything. We're middle aged, Cameron. We don't go see movies.
What are you talking about? Everybody who listens to this podcast at least aspires to go see movies, whether or not they actually
I'm a studio executive, and someone's like, all the 40-year-olds are going to see the Jamie Lee Curtis picture. It's like, you get fired. You go. You leave my office.
Okay. Counterpoint. All the 40-year-olds are sitting around at home with their kids asleep watching streaming movies.
That's true.
So this movie, I assume, will be put onto Disney Plus fairly quickly after it's...
I'm sure.
I will say, as the 31-year-old at this Zoom, this is probably more for my age group, and as someone who did enjoy the shit out of the original Freaky Friday, 2003 Freaky Friday.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in probably 20 years, but I can guarantee that it will have a significant. I think it would have significant appeal to my age group. So, but I don't want to speak too soon on that.
No, I guess that is a good point. It was a children's movie in 2002, and that was long enough ago that the children are now young adults or approaching middle age adults. That makes sense.
I'm glad Lindsay Lohan's doing okay again. Bunch of movies recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she made her great big "I'm sober, I'm clean, hire me" coming out party like 6 minutes before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And
she did.
I feel like this is the first actual payoff.
Yeah, and it resulted in a couple of terrible holiday movies, and now she's picking herself up. It's great. Go, Lindsay.
So I'll see it. I will almost. I've kind of unofficially decided my rule was to not pay money to see anything that the Disney Corporation produced. So I will probably wait until it is streaming, but I will see it.
Yeah. Same, probably.
The other movie, clearly targeting at least a somewhat different audience, is... I don't know if I have a grasp on what this movie is at all. It's called Weapons. What is this movie? Someone sell me this movie.
It's a strange horror movie from the director of Barbarian, and what more do you need to know without spoiling 3 different layers of plot developments as it becomes a stranger horror movie over the course? I mean, at least I get the feeling from the little tantalizing trailer glimpses that they're holding back some significant developments, similar to how they were with all the advertising for Barbarian that only showed scenes from like the first 20 minutes of the movie.
That would explain why I feel like I do not have a handle on what they're trying to sell me, because that you're probably quite entirely correct about that.
I feel like the vibe of the movie or of the trailer in the beginning was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like the children getting picked off one by one in this town is interesting. And then the trailer really just like went bananas, and I felt like showed too much of like whatever gory horror shtick stuff they have in there. Like I would have wanted to see it more if it had just been all these kids are disappearing from this town and then like ended on a hook somehow.
I didn't see the gory trailer. I saw 2 different trailers that were just about, the kids disappearing and the town freaking out. And the first one I saw was pretty much just the kids leaving in the night, and the second focused on the character who's their teacher. She's the actor from Ozark, right? What's her
name? Julia Garner. Yeah.
And Josh Brolin.
Maybe gory's the wrong word, but like the body horror stuff that happens in the trailer.
I don't
know. I didn't need that. I felt like I'd go see it and then I'd be surprised with that, and that would be a.
How did you feel about Barbarian? Did you catch that one?
No, I have not. No.
Which I think I will see this solely on my enjoyment. I didn't love it as much as a lot of people in Alternate Ending did, but I liked it enough and was surprised enough by it that I will definitely check out more of Zach Cregger's movie.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here you go.
I feel my response to Barbarian was I liked it, and then Smile happened like 2 weeks later, and I loved Smile, so Barbarian kind of got immediately wiped out of my memory.
Interesting.
You have any thoughts about this one, Zev?
For Barbarian, I loved all of its ideas, but felt like it had a really hard time putting a lot of them together. But going off the trail, but the trailers for Weapons did entice me enough that I do very much want to see this one, and I do think Zach Cregger has a really, really good movie bubbling in him, and I have a feeling, I have no idea if this is going to be better, but I'm still excited to find out.
That's fair. So with that, let's go ahead and skip to the next weekend. We are now in the midpoint of August. August 15th, which is a very, very busy weekend. There are for sure 3 wide releases and another film that currently is on like the schedule for a wide release, but based on the distributor, I don't 100% know if I believe that's true. But I think because we already touched on the film Nobody, we should probably start by acknowledging that there is going to be Nobody 2. This time, Nobody goes to the beach and punches people at a resort rather than on a bus. How about that? And on boats.
It's like Speed 2, where they chase people in a boat. Same jump.
Basically. I mean, I appreciate that they aren't just making the Nobody films the John Wick films, which is plainly the easiest route to have taken because Nobody was already John Wick. So I like that they're kind of leaning into, he just wants to be a random family man going to tacky tourist trap destinations. Oh no, guns. It looks strained to me. It looks very strained to me. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
I was utterly unaware that Nobody existed as a movie, so I wasn't quite sure what this was working off of until then I saw Heads of State. And now I know a little bit more about all of it. But yeah, it looks like a movie I've seen before, meshed with another movie I've seen before.
Yeah. Like I don't know that I've seen those 2 movies mashed together, but I have seen them both.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Bob Odenkirk is 62 years old as of this year. So maybe as these continue to go on, we will get some increasing comedy out of the things that we are expected to believe that he is accomplishing in these fights physically, which was kind of charming and Nobody won, but is probably going to start to strain on itself a little bit.
That's just a joke. That is a solitary joke, and I was already a little bored with it by the end of Nobody.
This may be just me, but when I was watching, I mean, because there are so many spots for this on Hulu right now, but when I was watching these spots, I was like, why am I getting flashbacks to, what was that Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich movie, Red?
Oh, yeah.
Why am I getting flashbacks to
Oh, now you've given me flashbacks to Red. Ooh.
Was that of a piece with the Expendables too? Like we have multiple old.
I feel like they. Yeah,
it's so
same
much
genre.
less effective than the Expendables, and that's already not very effective.
Wasn't Helen Mirren in Red too?
Helen Mirren is in Red. Yeah. It's just it's old people, and it's funny because they're old.
And they can still
but
do
they
stuff.
can still do things. They're not dead, even though they're old, and they shoot
and do parkour
guns.
and
they
throw
do
themselves
parkour.
from explosions.
But then at the end of the parkour, they go, "Ow, my sciatica." I don't know.
Yeah.
Red was really bad. I didn't see Red 2. I need to see Red 2. It's a need. I will see Red 2 at some point.
God.
Guys,
I will
I'm fucking
say,
crying right now. Jesus Christ.
I will say the one single thing about Nobody 2 that I'm sort of on board with. The poster tagline is "Nobody ruins his vacation," and kind of the gag
That's
of the
good.
movie seems to be that he's screwing things up for his wife and kid. So it's both. It's a pun. We know how puns work. I'm not going to unpack the pun. Dear God, I like it. I do like the line. I think it's a good line. Mm-hmm. All right. What about Eli Roth presents Jimmy and Stiggs?
How is this getting a wide release? That's my
because of those first 3 words that I said, and that doesn't actually answer your question because it is 2025.
But having seen the trailer, how is this getting wide release? My God. I mean, I'm potentially interested, but
I like the impression I get that the aesthetic they were like, what if neon or blacklit poster was movie, which is very close to nothing, but it's not nothing.
And what if all the gore were like the crazy string stuff that also glows at raves or under blacklight settings? That seems to be the animating aesthetic of the rubber toy aliens that get eviscerated in all sorts of spaghettified ways.
I mean,
it is different.
it is
Like
different.
this is not your generic schlock that's being put out into theaters.
It is.
so...
It is
The
such an
poster is giving
August
me-
movie. Go ahead.
It's
I'm
such an
sorry.
August movie. Yes.
It's giving me Zach Krager is making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vibes. That's what the poster is.
I was also immediate when I saw the trailer begin. I was wondering, oh, is this by the Freaky Friday and Psycho Goreman guy, Steven Kostansky? Because it's got that Psycho Goreman kind of energy, maybe like 90s children's TV production, all the violence amped up to as R-rated as we can possibly get away with.
And I will say, I hadn't thought to look at this until this exact moment because I saw the director's name and I was like, I don't recognize that name. Joe Begos, who the hell's that? He is the director of VFW, which I have not seen, but I know it got some buzz. Like it was the people who like cheap, gory horror responded well to VFW back in 2019. So I think he does have some minor quantity of built-in somebody. So maybe that's why it's getting a release. Yeah, cred with who I couldn't quite tell you, but he is not an untested baby duckling of a director.
Was that like a cult home hit, like on streaming? Because I see VFW apparently made $23,000 worldwide.
I mean, it was like the streaming horror people who were sort of like, there's something here.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like, this is a good movie. I think it's more like this, because horror fans are a notoriously like easy to please lot. It's like, this movie didn't set my pants on fire 4 stars. I don't know. It's 80 minutes long. I really like that it's 80 minutes long.
Yeah.
I think it might be the shortest wide release of the month. So
I would be hard to find something shorter, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then we also have a film that I'm also not 100% sure is real, but it's called Americana, and it appears to be it is an attempt to keep the Sydney Sweeney star rising that I think is obviously going to fail.
Yeah. Okay.
For one thing, it's been in the can for ages.
Yeah, this movie came out.
That's what I was going to ask.
right?
She looks massively younger than she does currently in this movie. And maybe that's makeup, but I don't really think so. Like, this seems like a movie that she would have taken before that Anybody But You movie came out. Like, and her star and White Lotus and all of that. Like, this seems like a movie where Sydney Sweeney was nobody.
Yeah, and I think that is the case. I imagine that this is a movie that came out, hit the festival circuit, nobody cared. The rom-com, whose title I've already forgotten, even though you just said it 4 seconds ago, Cameron.
Anybody But You.
Thank you.
Anyone But You. Yeah.
Anyone, something or other.
Yeah.
The movie, yes, I still haven't seen. At some point will, but it seems to me that somebody picked this up when that movie happened, and it was like, we've got 2 new movie stars. We've got a Sydney Sweeney and we've got a Glenn Powell, and Glenn Powell's people were good about taking that momentum and going with it, and I feel like Sydney Sweeney's people just let her career immediately die.
Well, she's in something.
She had a
She's in something that comes out later in the month too. I don't know if we will get to talk about it or not, but well, we probably will, so I'll save it. But it definitely made me think, what the F is her career even about? Like, who is choosing these roles for her?
Like, none of the choices being made support the size of Anyone But You. Like nothing she's done since then has felt like it was an attempt to capitalize on that. It was over a year ago.
Yeah.
And Glenn Powell's been in like he's headlined like 3 movies since then. So I do not know what Sweeney's people are thinking, but this feels like it's going to hurt. It feels like it was given a release date on the assumption that she'd be big by now, which didn't happen. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So no takers for Americana is what I'm hearing. All right.
If you tell me it's actually good.
So, well, I'm not going to see it. Good Lord. last up, and I'm pretty sure least, because this is the one that I don't know if it's going to come out. It's the company distributing it is I'm pulling it up right now, but I know they're not very big. It's Atlas Distribution, who presumably has released things I've heard of. I no, that's not true. Actually, they have not released anything I've heard of. So this is the movie Witchboard, which I'm talking about only to be thorough. Does anyone have any thoughts about Witchboard?
So audacious to be like from the master of horror who brought you Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which granted is one of the better ones by far. And then I forget what even the other movie was that was the credential for Chuck Russell here at the start of the movie. I think we're stretching the pitch of it, but
I'd say those first two movies
The Mask is what they said, which is like,
yeah, because
I'm like, that's not really a horror.
He's the best director of A Nightmare on Elm Street who isn't Wes Craven.
Yes.
And I do like the remake of The Blob.
Oh, he did the Blob. Okay, that is an excellent movie.
Remake.
Okay, why didn't they put that in the trailer rather than Jim Carrey?
Well, because that's also a 40-year-old movie, and The Mask is at least only a 30-year-old movie.
He also did Eraser.
He also did The Scorpion King.
Okay.
Yeah, what this movie, did you guys see Talk to Me from a few years ago?
Yeah,
I did.
The, like,
I like
Australian, like, grasp the hand and a, like, horror movie. It seemed like it was trying to hit that vibe. I liked that a lot, too. It is a horror movie that I liked. And, yeah, this seems like it's trying to do that and isn't going to get there. That, like, here's a creepy object that is from and we don't know what it's going to do to us. But
and it shares the title of the first Witchboard, but is not a remake, if I understand correctly. Is that true?
I have no idea. This movie, I did not bother watching a trailer for this movie. I was like, well, there's a thing that exists in the world, and like a damned idiot, I'll put it on my don't forget about this one, because I am part of the problem. I was about to say, like, if horror movies make money, even miserable little threadbare horror movies like this, because horror fans are stupid. Present and accounted for. Maybe we'll do a Bride of Alternate Ending about Witchboard. I don't know.
Not one we're going to talk about, I imagine, by any stretch. But I did just have to shout out the heroic efforts of the trailer editor for Red Sonja. I think it's probably, as some of the commenters point out, probably more cuts than anyone has ever managed to compile into a single trailer to attempt to make a movie look coherent. So kudos for that, I guess.
Yeah, I remember, like, it feels like as recently as like 3 years ago, there was chatter that the Red Sonja movie was going to be like a proper thing by a real company, and then it didn't, because this is, again,
not that.
no one and nothing and not a distributor. So, but that it is coming out. So thank you for. Skipping ahead again, August 22nd, and I have fantastic news. I'm not going to be a catty bitch about the first title I talk about, which is Honey Don't, the new lesbian genre comedy thriller by Ethan Cohen and Trisha Cook. I like Drive-Away Dolls quite a bit. I'm here for this ongoing cycle of films that Cook and Cohen have decided to make for themselves.
I like Drive-Away Dolls. I like Margaret Qualley. I think Chris Evans as a sleazy pastor / like not quite mega church preacher, but sleazy preacher is a really good fit that I'm excited to see for his more recent turns. And I always enjoy Aubrey Plaza, even though she's top billed, she was barely in the trailer, so I don't know how big a part she'll be. But
and this also has Charlie Day.
Oh,
he is also.
Yeah.
And,
see this movie. Yeah.
And feels like this is the first proper role in a theatrically released movie for Chris Evans in like a while. Right?
What's he been up to?
Oh, he was just in that movie Materialists that I'm never going to see.
That's probably his headliner of the year.
But like he's in Red One, which is pointed out was a kind of streaming picture that briefly flickered into theaters. He cameoed in the new Deadpool. He's just in streaming stuff. Like his last notable theatrical release was Knives Out. That's not possible.
Wait, was he not in the sequel to Knives Out?
No.
He was not.
And
The only person who was in both was Daniel.
And I don't think it's a stretch
he-
to say he's beloved in Knives Out. Like, he's one of the best parts of that movie.
Yeah.
So you would expect his career to keep going up a bit.
And he was also in The Gray Man, I think, the Russo Netflix.
He
thing.
was in The Gray
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I was going to do him the dignity of not mentioning
Sporting,
that.
sporting some awful mustache.
Yeah.
But
Which you know, that Netflix Russo brothers black hole of life is, I think, worthy of greater attention because what is going on there, but also it makes me sad
Yeah.
to think of the amount of money that has been just set on fire.
And they're sucking him back
He
in
did-
for Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
He did Free Guy, which
I think he just cameos in Free Guy. I don't think that's like an actual...
okay, I didn't actually see it. He's not actually a big part. Okay.
No, because I'm pretty sure if I remember, it's like he basically plays not Captain America. Because that was like part of the thing, one of the gags. of
That's
that
a
movie
joke,
was,
yes.
like,
Yeah.
It's the MCU because it's Disney. Hey. So. But so are we feeling? Am I the only one? I'm not the only one feeling Honey Don't. But are we sort of looking forward to that? Do we
Yeah.
think?
no, I'm definitely looking forward to Honey Don't. I also am with you on Drive Away Dolls. For me, lesser even minor Cohen is still better than no Cohen
Yeah,
at all. Even though
For sure.
we still, it's been 7 years since The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which has been the time that the Coen brothers have made anything. And I have no idea what's going on with Joel right now, because it's been 4 years since Tragedy Macbeth. There have been rumblings I've heard, but I think that strictly been rumors that they've been doing something, that they've been cooking up something. But I'm still excited nevertheless. The cast is very promising, and you know, it's like I said, you know, one Cohen is better than no Cohen.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, well, that takes us to again, it's August. August is when they just start burning off thrillers for people who are desperate to pretend that school isn't coming, so they just go see shit in the theaters, including shit by the name of Trust, which I believe makes this the 400th movie with that exact title. I don't know.
Sophie Turner is stuck in a house, but not in a house, like inside the walls of a house.
Yep, pretty much that. And Katie Seagal is in it, and I think that's neat because I think Katie Seagal is more talented than the world gives her credit for. That's what I got. The word Quibi Presents does appear in the trailer. I made a note about that.
It's on Pubi.
Amazing.
I mean, why the heck not? So I take it we have no
He
interest in
shut
seeing
down,
Trust.
right? Like they don't exist anymore? Wait,
I don't think they've existed for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Um,
The notes that I wrote for Trust were meh.
that seems
nothing-
unfairly generous of you, Cameron.
Nothing to contribute to this. Yeah.
moving on.
What Jeffrey
I do
Katzenberg
want-
is trying to buy back.
Yes. I do want to, I know we're sort of doing a wide releases only buzz through the films of August, but I think it would be very shameful of us not to point out that there will be one very, very important limited release, which is Highest to Lowest, a kind of try-hardy title, but whatever, it is an A24 release. More importantly, it is the new Spike Lee joint. Most importantly, it is a Spike Lee film starring Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Which feels like hearing that Jesus and Peter got back together and have a new sermon for us. I'm very excited.
This has got to go wide, right? In September or October.
It's not on the schedule to do so.
Weird.
Oh, I forgot that this was happening. I just right now reminded myself this is a remake of High and Low,
Oh.
the Kurosawa film.
Oh.
Yeah. Really?
Huh.
That's right. I
Interesting.
remembered like 3 years ago hearing that Spike Lee was trying to remake that, and it totally skipped my mind. And then I just saw writers Akira Kurosawa. It was like, wait a minute.
From the grave.
Yes. So, well, now I'm a little
Interesting.
bit less excited because Spike Lee remaking Asian films has a track record that we do not love. But I don't know. It's Denzel. It's Spike Lee.
Yeah, it's reason enough to check it out.
This is
Gonna
all,
see it,
all we
yes.
need. This is all we need.
Great poster too. I got to shout out whoever designed that one. I think I say
Very
I say that very rarely anymore.
Is this their first collaboration since Inside Man?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That was 2006 too. I think.
Yeah, because Denzel has nothing to do in Black Klansman, right?
No, that was
I
his
don't
son.
think so.
Yeah, I knew the character was his son. I was just wondering if there was like a cameo or something. But
No.
I was curious.
So
I was
there you go.
curious why. Do you know why? Anybody why the Ron Howard movie is not getting a wide release? What's going on with that?
Yeah. This is the other weird Sydney Sweeney role.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Ron Howard, when we weren't looking, suddenly became like a director whose movies don't come out. Because there was that I thought actually quite good movie he made about the cave.
Yeah,
flooding
that was really
disaster.
good. What is that? 13 Lives? Yeah, I thought
Yes,
that was his best
yes.
in decades, possibly.
I would be potentially willing to call that his second best film after Apollo
Wow.
13. And I don't think that even got a theatrical release, or maybe it just
It did
like
here, but
popped in and out just for the purposes of Oscar. And then he made the Jim Henson documentary for Disney Plus, which I get why that doesn't go
yeah.
Yeah.
theatrical, but it feels like maybe he's in Hillbilly Elegy jail. I don't know.
Well, that was a Netflix one, right? So that was not going to get a
But-
real theater release anyway.
True, but like I feel like being the guy who made Hillbilly Elegy the movie at this point in time is a thing that you're sad about having done that.
And Solo was
Yeah,
Star
he's
Wars.
putting himself in the corner a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, so like it did strike me as being very weird that we do have, and it's it's not just Sydney Sweeney who's in this. It's actually kind of a
Jude
cast.
Law.
Jude Law.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
Ana de
yeah.
You could
Armas,
generate some
Vanessa
buzz.
Kirby.
Ana de Armas, Vanessa Kirby, who in theory is coming off of a really big film for her. I mean, depending on how Fantastic Four does, but
Yeah.
it's certainly not going to do so poorly that we like want to bury our Vanessa Kirby films. I don't know.
No, of course not. Yeah, this does seem like it's maybe just testing the waters in August, and then we'll
And then if
get a bigger release.
If
but
it finds its audience, it will get an expansion. We think.
I feel like the cast alone is enough to bring at least a decent audience in. Like you put Jude Law in a trailer and people are
That's
in.
true.
I think, but maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know.
Yeah, guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious.
We'll
Like,
see.
I like for the most part the cast. I don't eschew seeing Ron Howard films. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's hop ahead, I guess, to the last weekend of the month, which does have, I'd say, the one guaranteed surefire this will be worth seeing in theaters wide release, because this is the weekend that Universal has picked for the Jaws 50th anniversary special screenings. I'm not sure exactly how wide that's going to be, but it's Jaws. It's Jaws.
Yeah. Go.
Do we all like Jaws?
Oh,
Does
of
anyone want
course.
to?
I will be going to see it. I've never seen it in a
Same,
theater.
yeah.
Like I will definitely see it in a theater.
Yeah, I finally saw it in the theater for the first time, just not that long ago, when it was in IMAX.
Sure.
And this is, do
It's
we know if
wonderful. It's good.
this is a good transfer? No AI upscaling or anything like is this a proper film treatment here? Well,
I only learned like 3 days ago that it was coming, so I know nothing about it. I haven't seen any advertising for it or anything. I think Spielberg's not going to do that.
I hope not. I mean,
God willing.
James Cameron going and ruining all his filmography is not giving me tons of hope for our great, pop auteurs.
James Cameron, though, I think is an indiscriminate technophile, and Spielberg is not.
True.
Like
The
you tell,
opposite, if anything.
exactly. Like you tell James Cameron, here's computers. James Cameron's like, computers are going to make everything better. I know because I made Terminator 2. Whereas Spielberg was still cutting on film until like 2008.
Yeah.
Like literally, I think Spielberg was the last director in Hollywood still cutting on film. So clearly not a technophile here.
Well, that's hope. Yeah.
Right.
Or the
But we do have.
I was going to say, or the Lucas releases, like when American Graffiti was back in and completely denoised and everything. Of course, he is the poster child for ruining your old things with digital effects. So
Lucas is a deranged monster, and Spielberg is my dad. So, well, we do actually have some movies that are new coming out, and all of them feel like burn off trash in a weird way, but also they have like real talent behind them, so I don't know what to do with these. We have a new Darren Aronofsky film that just kind of snuck out into the world, Caught Stealing. It's a baseball movie, I guess.
Wait, baseball
I don't
movie?
know. It's
what?
Yeah,
No,
he's like an
Oh,
ex-baseball
okay.
player.
Oh,
I don't,
is he? It
I
did
don't think
not
that has
catch
anything
that.
to do with the movie.
Like the only image I've seen from this is another one where I didn't watch the trailer, but I have
Oh,
seen
Tim, you got to watch this trailer. It is
Okay.
not a baseball movie.
because the image I've seen is Austin Butler carrying a baseball
For
bat.
home defense, as he gets like dragged into a gritty crime thriller,
I love
smash up embroilment with various mobs, like including numerous gags about the Jewish mob. That's like a punchline.
Oh, I did
sometimes.
see a trailer for this. Oh,
Yeah,
this is going
you
to
see
be
this-
horrible.
Matt Smith is in it. Yeah, it looks weird.
I saw this trailer and I probably didn't know it was by Aronofsky because I started like making jokes about how bad it was to my seatmate.
It doesn't jive with Aronofsky's film. Like, it does not feel like
Not
him
at
at
all.
all. Which, he's allowed to do new stuff, but it seems like a huge departure for him. So
I will embarrass myself by saying the one thing noteworthy about this trailer to me was that like there's something like weirdly sexy about what Austin Butler's doing in this one. Like I think his career still has some fun places to go as a movie star. Maybe
I do.
I agree.
Weirdly sexy is clearly the play his team is going for. I think after Dune 2, they want that to be his brand. I think.
Yeah, I think Matt Smith also falls into the weirdly sexy category. So, and he's the like Mohawk thug in this movie. So,
yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio is always fun.
I mean, Aronofsky. I don't like his stuff, but you have to see it because of who he is.
yeah.
I don't know. Second, please.
Yeah, I don't know if I am still on the must-see Aronofsky train. I think ever since Mother, I've been off that one a little bit, and The Whale. Oh wow, yeah, he's
Same.
Yeah.
I didn't even see The Whale.
I forgot.
Yeah.
he directed
The Whale is an unbelievably dire run-up to a fascinatingly beautiful and transcendent final 6 seconds. It's really weird to me.
Yeah, I don't need to see a movie that makes fat people feel horrible about themselves. That was my stance from the get-go with that movie. And nope, no.
No, for sure. I'm not going to
He
tell you
should
to
make
see
more
it.
biblical epics.
Yeah.
I want to see him do Noah, but for other stories.
Well, that's kind of what's weird to me about The Whale is that he takes this dreadful play and decides for the last 3 seconds it was a biblical epic the whole time. He's like, what is wrong with your brain?
A lot.
I feel like Darren Aronofsky making a baseball movie. The one I want him to make is like the Ty Cobb biopic. That's what I want to see Aronofsky make. But anything else, I'm not sure.
I would see that. Yeah.
So continuing with the there's sort of people attached to this who are real and in the world. We have I guess the main thing is that Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman are in this movie. The Roses, which when I clicked and saw that it was directed by Jay Roach, that was the thing that for some reason stood out to me. Like, remember when Jay Roach was a person who made movies that we saw?
Oh yeah, wow, that is a blast from the past. Looking at this filmography, but
like you go from being the Austin Powers guy to making Trumbo and Bombshell. And that's a fascinating career arc to me. But I don't know. This feels like the kind of movie that you make because you're hoping it's going to be an awards player, and then you see what you've got, and he's like, "Well, that didn't work," so you put it out in the last week of August.
I was going to say, this feels like a very August movie to me that I will go see because I will want to see a movie and not really for... Although I do, the Benedict Cumberbatch, Allison Janney, Olivia Colman... Oh, and Andy Samberg. Like, all those
and
people.
Andy Samberg and
I'm
Kate
in.
McKinnon.
Sure.
And I don't think Ncuti Gatwa really hit as big as they thought he would when he became Doctor Who, but, like, he's not a name. I don't know.
Yeah, I like some of these people. There's just something about the trailer, and it might just be the effect of I've been subjected to it like half a dozen times now, different versions of the trailer in front of movies, and it's really starting to get under my skin for some reason. But yeah, if another one, if you tell me it's good, Cameron, I'll go see it. But I'm waiting for word of mouth on this one.
Okay. All right, I'll let you know. Yeah.
I will say I went into the trailer in a way that was guaranteed to disappoint me because I saw the title, The Roses, and I was like, is this going to be some sort of modern dress riff on the War of the Roses?
Yes.
The English...
I thought the same thing.
And it surely is not.
Yeah, no.
So
I'm
glad to know I'm not the only one who thought that, though.
No, I thought that too, and I thought, like, maybe there is some sort of, like, nod towards some kind of Shakespeare something or other in here, but it's not readily apparent.
I think it might just be about the scale of the conflict, because that's the War of the Roses is the name of the novel it's based on.
Yeah.
And has anybody
really?
seen, there's an
Okay.
89 version of the film. I don't know if anybody's seen directed by Danny DeVito. Because I do remember, I vaguely...
is that
film,
the same? Yeah. I've never seen that, but is that the same?
Yeah,
oh,
so that's like
interesting.
I never saw it, but it was one my
Interesting.
parents watched. I remember like the video rental as a kid, so it's like that one of those background films for me. But
Interesting.
came December
Okay.
'89.
Well,
Michael
I'm
Douglas and
fascinated
Kathleen
by
Turner.
that
That's
now.
right. Oh, and Danny DeVito is also in it.
Yeah, no, I never saw it, but I do remember, like, the poster. Yes. Okay.
I guess this is his reward for refusing to direct the Love Movie.
That's a delayed reward. Wow.
Which we do know that he refused the Love Movie.
Good for him. So
I
gotta have some
mean,
standards.
why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This is the second time in 3 days that the Love Guru has come up in conversation for me. I need to,
Weird.
need to reevaluate my life.
Yeah, what is your life, Tim?
This, apparently.
Yes, yeah.
All right, one last wide release to talk about. The very long delayed attempt to get a new Toxic Avenger off the ground apparently happened. I didn't even realize it had gone into production until I saw its name on the release schedule. But we have a new Toxic Avenger, and the Toxic Avenger is played by Peter Dinklage, which, okay. I think that's cool. I won't probably see this, but I think that's cool.
Yeah, I was unaware of this completely too, and having watched the trailer about an hour ago, I think it looks kind of fun, and I don't know that I need to see it. So, but Kevin Bacon too is in there. You don't see Kevin Bacon a lot these
No,
days.
he feels like he kind of trailed off.
I think the trailer seems very proud of their gore effects, and rightly so. Like, it does look like they've got some real good, fun mix of practical and digital effects work going on for that. So that's something.
And I'm looking right now because I didn't really think to look this up, but I'm curious. I know Lloyd Kaufman is in it, but I'm wondering how much he's actually involved. Like, is he producing it or not? Because this is, the golden child of Troma, and I think that's why my enthusiasm is a little bit thin, because I dislike Troma. Yeah, Lloyd Kaufman is a producer, not even an executive producer. He is a producer on this film. So it is Troma Reborn, which I'm not a fan. I feel like I'm the sort of person who's supposed to like Troma, and I don't.
Yeah, I think you are a person who's supposed to like that.
I'm
I
supposed
agree.
to.
That's weird.
We might be. Oh, sorry. We might be in a mini Kevin Bacon renaissance, because I think he was in Pearl last. No, not Pearl. No, Maxine.
Maxine. I was going to say, it must be the one I haven't seen, because I don't remember that. Okay. I saw Maxine.
Right. I'm down for a Kevin Bacon renaissance. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that gets us through the wide releases. It's August. It's the movies that just kind of are there to maybe make a couple $20-30 million and quietly be forgotten for all time. Was there anything in there that anyone was like super excited about? Am I being a little too dismissive?
Tim, did you want to touch on Neza too?
Oh yeah, I did. Thank you for reminding me. I'll just edit this in because this is also on August 22nd. We do have the dubbed version of Ne Zha 2, which was already released in the United States in a subtitled version. And it's getting re-released. Cool, why not? Only of note, I think, because it is the highest grossing film for a really long time. It's made over $1 billion in China alone, the first ever $1 billion movie in a single market.
Wow.
Which is cool, but also made not all that much money anywhere other than China. So I don't know. I know people saw Ne Zha when it came out in February. Did any of you see it at that point?
Nope.
Okay, because it's animated, so I feel like it's my job to see it. But
I think it took the title of highest grossing animated film of all time from Inside Out 2.
I would believe that.
Wow.
Again, $1 billion, like well over $1 billion. Like it is the first $1 billion single territory film, but it like comfortably hit that. So I would be very unsurprised to hear that, because I mean, that's a lot of dollars. So it's of kind of industrial interest to me, but I don't know that I'm necessarily going to love it, because it's 2.5 hours long, and B, my understanding is that it has a lot of float jokes.
Where did you fall in the first one?
I thought it was fine. That was fine.
Well, potentially, speaking of animation that you're obligated to see, how do you feel about Genndy Tartakovsky, Tim?
I love Genndy Tartakovsky, and I hate when people I love make things for Netflix.
What about this particular thing? Which did anybody else sit through this trailer?
Wait, which trailer was that?
Fixed.
Oh, you know.
Oh,
No,
so
I read the
Idris
log
Elba.
line.
Number one comment on the version of it I watched: I wish I could reverse time 1 minute and 32 seconds and erase this trailer from my mind. That's kind of how I felt about the end of this.
You know, I've seen so much bad animation. How could it possibly hurt me to sit through this?
This is the dog who
The dog
lives
who's gonna
out
get
his
murdered.
last 24 hours with his balls.
Yeah.
I think is the log line, something like that.
And we get quite a few gratuitous shots of animated dog balls and buttholes and rats chewing on balls, and this.
Again, it's something different.
It's different. Tartakovsky is a very important person.
Yeah.
In the medium that I care about very much.
Yeah.
I wonder if it will have as much resonance as your recent rewatch of Food Fight.
It's gonna be better than Food Fight. I mean, just the drawings look better than Food Fight, but I don't know. It's Netflix original. Netflix original is the mark of death as far as I'm concerned. So this is the time in the show where I'd like to give everybody an opportunity. We kind of blaze through a whole bunch of wide releases, but I do want to take just a moment. We have even more limited releases coming out in August. Does anybody have a limited release that they think looks super fun or interesting and they want to just share the world? I think this is going to be worthwhile. Let's talk about it.
Oh, you know what? I think we've sort of touched on some of the limited release ones that I'm probably most interested in. I'm curious about By the Stream. I've not seen any of the other works of Korean director Hong Sang-soo. It was a strange little non-trailer of a woman working like a loom, right? Or like a flying, like spinning Jenny or flying Jenny, whatever they're called. While we sort of get text overlay of like the pitch of the film over the top of that, but there was something strangely mesmerizing about it. I don't know. I've not seen any of Hong's other movies, so I don't know what to expect. But there was something vaguely enticing about that I'm interested in looking more into.
Yeah, I have seen a few Hong Sang-soo, and I just didn't. It just doesn't work for me, and he just makes so many movies. He makes so many movies, they all sound the same. I don't know. people I know love him, like, dearly, like, one of the best living filmmakers love him, so I don't want to talk too much shit about Hong Sang-soo. Cameron, any limited releases that you feel maybe something?
Okay, well, as we've discussed, I'm not a big horror person, but watching the trailer for Together, which is a Dave Franco, Alison Brie movie, that trailer is great. Like, it's just a bunch of still photographs that progressively get creepy. And I was into the trailer. I have no confidence that the movie is going to be good because it's an August limited release horror movie. But who knows? I could be proven wrong. I would go see it if it was proven.
Will it give you any comfort if I tell you that it is also a directorial debut?
Oh, no. Not at all. But, you know, I will allow there to be space for good directorial
There have historically
debuts.
been them, yes.
The pitch is kind of grossly enticing, like a couple who's having various issues and also starting to fuse together by the flesh physically, which one of the things about living in Los Angeles is the extreme lengths they go to make billboards really stand out, like they're all over the place for films. And in our neighborhood, there is a huge, weird, disgusting, three-dimensional one of like Dave Franco and it's Alison Brie? Alison Brie, right. Their faces sort of like, it's all three-dimensionally sliming together or pulling apart as they're trying to rip their flesh apart, raised off the surface of the billboard. So you've just got like flesh hanging down, and it's kind of a wild thing to see in an ad campaign around town.
I can imagine so.
They're certainly selling it on the aesthetic and the hook of the horror itself, the concept. So I'll probably see this one, I think. The trailers have me interested.
Yeah. Cool. The other one was, and you know, maybe this is just me being a softie, but this movie Sketch with Tony Hale, where like little kids' drawings come to life after I think she's dealing with the death of her mother, maybe, and Tony Hale is a dad, and there are two kids, and one of them draws pictures, and then they come to life like these silly monsters that she draws. Seems kind of like that movie If.
Oh, yeah.
Vaguely, which wasn't terrible, but I don't know. I laughed a couple times in the trailer, and, you know, it's the kind of movie that I will probably watch with my nephews and they will like, and therefore I will like it too.
I mean, as we discussed on the last episode, you watching movies with children has enriched all of our lives immeasurably. So,
yes. Yeah. Get ready for the next year of your life to be about Sketch. Yeah.
I do have actually something. The limited release of a movie called A Little Prayer, which is the newest film from Angus MacLachlan, who is the screenwriter of Junebug, and whose most recent movie, I believe, was called Abundant Acreage Available, which I saw at Tribeca. I actually saw it because, very funny, Angus, his wife is my mother's best friend. And so I got to know, I've met Angus a couple of times, and he was there at the premiere of Abundant Acreage Available when I saw it. So, and I believe this is making its festival rounds. But I have been urged to check this out, and so I absolutely will. And David Strayhorn is in it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I haven't seen Abundant Acreage Available, but Junebug was a really lovely little film. So, yeah, that's definitely a pedigree. I think
he also did a lovely one called Goodbye to All That with Heather Graham was in that one, which I liked a lot.
Cool. Well, I will say the film that I had walked in prepared to say, what about this? We've kind of already touched on, because I'm an idiot and I'm like, I don't know, Red Sonja, she's got a sword. Movies with swords are never all bad. But I will instead throw my weight behind a limited release coming out on the 22nd which is the same day as the Spike Lee film, which I'm obviously a lot more excited about. But this film, Relay, which is like a corporate espionage type thriller thing. It's like a broker who gets involved with the wrong people when he's like making deals. It's directed by David Mackenzie, who only really made one film that is in any way, shape, or form significant, but that one film was Hell or High Water, which I just really, really liked. And I keep hoping... Yeah. He hasn't really made much since then. I think his only thing since then, feature-wise, was Outlaw King, which was a Netflix film that we don't count Netflix films. Certainly we don't count them against directors. So it's kind of his first thing since Hell or High Water. So maybe there'll be something there. And it also, the lead character is played by Riz Ahmed, who I really like quite a lot. And I feel like I haven't seen him in anything recently. So I don't know. This is...
Oh, he was in the Phoenician Scheme.
Which
he's
I
one
still haven't seen.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah.
Really?
He's really good at it, I would say.
Yeah, what is your life?
It's hard not to be a fun character in a Wes Anderson movie, but he's an enjoyable part.
Cameron, do you concur with that sentiment?
Yeah. I actually do concur with that sentiment. Tim is giving me shit because I fell hard off the Wes Anderson train, in the last couple of movies of his. So, Phoenician Scheme, just real briefly, did not hate it.
That is good enough.
That's
for
what
me.
I'll give
I
you.
still need to see it.
I saw it last week. I think it is simultaneous. Like this, we come from different places. Because I think it's one of the worst Wes Anderson films. Like definitely bottom tier, but I really liked it still. Like that's like where his floor is for me.
I had a lot more fun with this than I think his worst is Asteroid City, and I know I'm very much alone.
Wow.
I know. I wanted to slit the screen open in that movie. Like, I'm sorry. I know I'm probably going to get kicked off this podcast, but I hated it. So this movie, Phoenician Scheme, at the very least, has Richard Ayoade in it. And,
I do feel bad that I elected to run at this particular hornet's nest with a 2x4 when we were trying to wrap up this very long episode.
Oh, yeah. I think Phoenician Scheme was also my most anticipated on a prior preview list there. So that makes sense to come on the echo of that one. I do. It's definitely one of his fussiest movies, which if you don't like Wes Anderson's fussy period, it makes sense not to be a big fan of it.
The hard disagree.
Oh, no?
Okay,
we'll
have that fight later. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Special episode.
I am glad I signed up for that episode.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that probably wraps us up. We've been talking for a while, so we should go. We should let all of you listeners go. Before we dial off, though, where can we hear you, see you, learn more about you, read your stuff? Caleb, any news to report?
Just same as last time that I will be at Gen Con exhibiting Let Us Build a Tower. You can find me there in Indianapolis at the end of the month, going to the beginning of August. And I'm really, really proud to say that we won the ENnie Judges Award. And the ENnies they're like, they're the biggest awards you can get in tabletop role-playing game in our tiny little corner of the world. So that was extremely exciting and affirming.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm very excited to play it with new people there. I've also never been to Gen Con, and it's the largest of these kind of conventions, definitely in this hemisphere, maybe in the world. So I'm excited to be there. If people are going, they should let me know, and we'll hang out and play some games then.
Zev, what about you? Any exciting news? Anything to share? Any projects you're working on?
Let's see. I just finished up a new production music album a couple weeks ago, so hopefully that'll be coming out in the next hopefully a couple weeks. A trailer for one of the new shorts I just scored just dropped yesterday, and it's up on Instagram. If you go to the Instagram account, Lumita Productions, I think it's their pinned post. It's for a short film called The Nook, 9 to 10 minute comedy short. A lot of fun. And then a couple of other things in the works that I can't really talk about right now, but I am always staying busy. You can find me at zevburrowsmusic.com.
And Cameron, I know we just asked you this question a few days ago, but anything changed in the last 48 hours?
No, nothing has changed on the topic of millennial nostalgia. I have a podcast about the Babysitters Club, if you should be so interested in us to listen to something about that. So it is called Stony Brook Reunion, the Babysitters Club Book Club, and you can find Tim on there every now and then for all of you Tim fans out there. And yeah, we'd love to have you. So.
And I, of course, am sometimes writing reviews and sometimes feeling guilty about the limited number of reviews I am writing, but we're still chugging through the Summer Blood and eventually going to start seeing wide releases again and talk about them. Just wanted to give a quick promo for next week. It is the 5th Tuesday in July, and as will usually be the case, the 5th Tuesday is my opportunity to just go down some rabbit hole that I think is interesting. I'm very, very excited about this episode. I will be joined by Devin Scott, who is a professional colorist, professional cinematographer, all-around good podcaster. He and I collaborated, we didn't collaborate, I guested on several episodes of his Ernst Lubitsch podcast a couple years ago. So really, really great guy. Loved having chats with him. He and I are talking about the upcoming restoration on UHD of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which he was one of the consultants on the getting the color grade good for the first time in the history of that film's home video releases. So really, really fun conversation. You're going to want to for sure check that out. Thank you to my guests, as always, for giving me your time, giving me your thoughts. Thank you to all of you for listening. One last time, if you want to support the show on Patreon, the link's right there in the sidebar. Otherwise, always a pleasure talking with you, and we will come back next week with more. Thanks.